Here we go. Julia, do you have your calculator rental? We want to get you off the board here.
Okay. Wasn't I doing a problem on the board yesterday?
All right, here we go. Remember that we, one sentence at a time, work our way through the problem. Okay, you're about to take a test that contains questions of type A worth 10 points and questions of type B worth 25 points. Where do I put that? That's the value. The A and the B's are 10 and 25. You must do at least 3 questions of type A, but not more than 12. So in other words, you have to do between 3 and 12, right? So what's that? Isn't that your fixed interval? So X is between 3 and 12. We're going to let X be the number of A questions. Now what about B, which is, we'll call that Y. Where will the Y's have to be?
Between 4 and 20.
4 and 15.
Oh.
Quiet. In total, you can do no more than 20 questions.
Total number.
The total number is 20. How many of each type must you do to maximize? This is a maximize problem. Remember, yesterday it was minimize. What do I want to maximize?
10x.
My score, which will be, what did you say, Bryce?
10x plus 25y.
Yep. Now, you're going to get points for everything you can do. So even if you feel like you can't do this whole problem, you can certainly write this down. Right? All right, what am I graphing? I'm going to start graphing here in a minute. What am I going to graph? I'm going to graph my 2 intervals for sure. And there's one more thing I'm going to graph. X plus Y is less than or equal to 20. Now, remember, you may not fill in all these blanks, and that's okay. Also, pay attention. Should this be a less than 20 or greater than 20?
Less than.
It's less than, but sometimes it's greater than, right? You have to read the problem.
Yeah.
No more than means you have to be less than that number. At least 20 would mean you have to be bigger than 20. Okay, now I guess we're ready to graph. Let's see, looking at the numbers, maybe we should let our things be 2s.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have them be 2s. So here we go. X is between 3 and 12. X is between 3 and 12. Y is between 4 and 15. Now, what do your fixed intervals almost always create for you? When you graph them, you always get a box, right? Right here. Now, what are we going to do next? We have one more thing to do. We're going to put in a diagonal line. And how do we put in the diagonal line? So let x be 0, so y would be 20. And let y be 0, so x would be 20. And then try to draw a straight line there. And where is that shaded?
Below.
Inside the box, but below the red line? So that would be bounded by these 5 points. Would you agree with me? We're looking at this region right here. All right, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Find the points. Now remember, if they're horizontal and vertical lines, they're easy. This line right here, what can you tell me about this x-coordinate?
3.
Well, the y is 15 and the x is 3. So one of my points is 3, 15. How about this one? 3, 4. How about this one? 12, 4. Those are the easy ones. Now, what do I know for sure about this guy right here, this point right here? I know his x is 12. If his x is 12, his y has to be 8. And this guy, what do I know about him? His y is 15, which means his x has to be 5. Tomorrow you will be doing this on your own. Who said something to me? Maya?
So as long as you can solve that numerically, it doesn't matter if it's actually on the board, like with your diagonal.
Yes. Yours probably, though, Maya, is going to be a lot closer than mine because you have actual graph paper there. And I kind of encourage you to have a note card or something to use as a straight edge maybe to help you. Also encourage you to maybe have some colored pencils if you think that would help you. Okay, now what? We've got a list made of all our points. Now what do we do? We see which one, when we plug it in here, like Bryce said, when we plug it in here, which one gives me the highest number? So we're going to plug in 3, 15, 3, 4, 12, 4, 12, 8, and 5, 15. Now, again, if you are just being logical, I am fine with that. If you say, Mrs. Ford, clearly 3 A's and 15 B's is going to be more than 3 A's and 4 B's. Does that make sense to you? Yes. If it does, then you don't have to worry about that one. So some of these you might be able to rule out. Maybe you don't want to rule any of them out. That's okay too. Type them all in. Get answers for all of them. So this would be a 405 is what I got. You double check, would you? Did them all. So assuming I typed correctly, what do we end up with here? we should do 5. We should do 5 type A's and 15 type B's for a score of 425. And if you whine and complain about having to write that, after all this work, you're crazy. There's a lot of work involved there. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and while we're here, do the calculator problem. That'll go much faster. Okay, so remember what you have to write down is the matrix that's going in. The matrix that's going in. We have E, F, G, H, and number. So what will the top row be? 1, 2, -3, 1, -8. Kaylin, you paying attention? Good for you. So the next row will be 1, 1, -1, -1, -1. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. What about row 3? 2, 0, -3, 4, 2. Somebody in the other class yesterday asked me how I know where the zeros go. Well, that's why I write the letters down up here at the top. Whatever I don't have is going to get a 0. Oh my goodness. So what's the bottom one? No E's, no F's. How does that look to everybody?
0, 0, 1.
Okay, now what else do you have to write down if you want to get full credit for the question? Yep, we're going to press our RREF button, and then we're going to write down what comes out, right? Anybody get it yet? What's that last column?
4, -3, 2, 0.
Did anybody else get that? I did not type this in. Oh, I guess I have answers. So is there anything else I need to write down?
Oh, those numbers.
I need to write down my answer. And my answer will be 4, -3, 2, 0. All right, let's do number 6 together, and then I'll do whatever you think you still need practice on. Number 6. Everybody been typing this in? Any question about the calculator problem before we go to number 6? Okay, number 6. Is B a square? No, why not?
Not 2 by 2.
Or 3 by 3 or 4 by 4. You can be square different sizes. What's the key to being square?
Same rows.
You gotta have the same number of rows as columns, that's right. we ever seen that question before?
Yeah.
It's been on every practice test. What is B sub 2, 3?
-4.
B sub 2, 3
Negative 2.
is what?
2.
-2. What does B sub 2, 3 mean?
Second row.
Second row,
Circle.
third column. Katie Rock, whatever's on that iPad we need to get rid of. What are the dimensions of B?
3/4.
3 by 4. Define scalar.
The number.
A real number.
It's a real number. That's right. It's a number. It's just a plain number. And like Bryce said, it sometimes occurs in front of the matrix. You don't even need to add that. It's just a number. Scalar is a real number. What's a matrix? Oh, we've seen this before. It's been on every practice test. A rectangular array of numbers arranged in rows and columns. You guys, now let's be reasonable people. These questions that have shown up on all 3 practice tests. If you miss them, you are crazy and lazy. Okay, of everything that's left, which is basically parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
You just did the Kramer's rule one more time. Number 3, I think.
5.
The fuck?
We can do 5.
Something just gotta say, can you do number 3 one more time?
And then we'll do Kramer's rule. Somebody asked for Kramer's rule. So we'll do number 5. Okay, this is number 5. And it is a determinant. So the answer is going to be a number. We're just going to get a number as our answer. How do we do that? How do we get this number?
First 2 calls.
We take the first 2 columns and we copy them exactly. Then we start right here. And we multiply these 3 numbers together. And what do we get when we multiply those 3 together? 9. And then we multiply these 3 together. And we multiply these 3 together. And we add all of those numbers up. We add them up. Total them. Here we go, other direction. Multiply those together and get 24. These make, remember you're multiplying them, and these make 0. Total those up.
26. 22, my bad.
Total them up, add them up. Now, what do you do with these 2 totals you got?
Subtract them.
Subtract them. So 5 minus 22 will be negative 17. So the value of the determinant is negative 17. All right, now the Kramer's rule problem is number 3. Okay, how do we start? Step 1. Put them in a box. Make a determinant of the x and y coefficients. These are the x numbers. These are the y numbers. Okay? Now we have to evaluate that. So remember how it works. We multiply these and get we multiply these and get, and then what do we do with those 2 numbers? Subtract them. So it's 10 minus negative 3, which is 13.
You always subtract them.
Always subtract. Now, is 13 the answer to the question?
The denominator.
No, it's the denominator. Remember, you are looking for problems 1, 2, and 3. Your answer is going to be an ordered pair, x comma y. For this problem, x and y are both going to have a denominator of 13. The numerator is another determinant. Now, see how this is in the x spot of the ordered pair?
Yeah.
That means I'm going to take these two numbers and plug them in on top of x. So I'll have 7, 1, and then negative 1, 5. When I do the y piece of the ordered pair, I'll put the 7 and the 1 here. So I'll have 2, 3, and 7, 1. Now I'm going to evaluate those determinants. 35 minus negative 1, which is 36 thirteenths. And then I'll have 2 minus 21, which is negative 19 thirteenths. That is the answer to our question. Okay? Okay. Anything else about that one? Any other question about that one? Okay. All right. Abby, what? Number 4E?
Well, I don't know what you do with negative 2.
What do you think you do with negative 2?
Just put the 2 in front of the D.
Well, yeah, but what's it going to do? Are you sure it does?
Jesus. Raised your hand and got caught.
Somebody help her out. What do you do when you have a multiplier out in front of the matrix? You just times everything by negative 2.
Everybody,
So
get
it'll
back
be
to
2, negative 4, negative 6,
blood
negative 2.
stain.
Add your something, you just did your problem.
Yeah, I know.
It's applesauce.
Okay, can we do another one?
No, we're going to let somebody else ask a question.
Can we do
Which one? Number 2, the elimination
I
problem.
really thought you could rob a bank with a water gun.
Ron,
Sorry.
all right, now we're going to do the elimination problem. That's number 2. What is the goal of elimination?
Get the factors, one of the factors, same.
We want to make either the x's match or the y's match. Ideally, one of them positive and one of them negative, so they will cancel out when I add them, right? Now, what is your thought on making something match here? If we multiply the bottom row by negative 3, would that make anything cancel out? The whole bottom row by negative 3. Be careful and make sure you're doing every number in the whole row by negative 3, okay? Or by whatever, in this case, negative 3. So now I'm going to add these. So I get negative 7x equal to 7. So x equals negative 1. Now, are we done?
No,
No, because why?
if I'm wrong.
We gotta find y. Remember, your answer to problem 1, 2, and 3 is an ordered pair. So we know x is -1. Now how do I find y? I can plug it in anywhere I want. If I just plug it in the top because it's sitting there, I'll have -2 plus 3y equals -8. Because I put in -1. So 3y equals -6 because I'm adding 2. So y equals -2.
You're number 1.
Jordan, was your hand up? Nope. All right, then we'll do number 1, substitution, and then we'll do another question from you, Abby. So number 1, substitution. What is our objective on this problem? What do we have to do in order to do substitution? It's not like this. We don't do this. We get a letter by itself. And pick one that doesn't have a coefficient. So maybe this x or this y. If I get x by itself, would you agree that x equals -y? What do I do with that? I take the -y and I plug it in for x, because that's what x equals. So 2 times -y plus 3y equals -1. It looks like y equals -1. I'm not done, am I? If y is -1, what does x have to be?
12. 21. 21.
Devon, if you say one more word, I'm gonna write you a detention, because you're just being dumb now. Okay? I want you to sit up, focus, and pay attention so you can get a good grade tomorrow.
Okay.
If if y is -1, then x has to be 1, doesn't it? And that's the answer to the question. Okay, Abby, which one did you want to do now? So she's saying 4B. We're looking at 4B. So C is -2251. And 2A is 24-2068. Does that much make sense to you, Abby? Huh? Abby, look, this is 2A.
Sorry, never mind.
You multiply everything in there by 2. That's what you asked before. Okay. Now, take a look at this problem. How about this?
Not possible.
Not possible. And why is it not possible?
You can't add matrices
They're
with
not
different
the
dimensions.
same size. If they don't have the same dimensions, you can't add them. You can't add them. Ethan?
4A.
4A says multiply A times D.
I'll take that as a yes. Can't see the same way now.
Okay, so first of all, I gotta make sure that I can multiply these. All right? So what are the dimensions of this matrix? 2 by 3. What are the dimensions of this matrix? Now, these match, which means we can multiply. And the answer will be 2 by 3. So 2 rows, 3 columns. All right, so now I need to figure out these numbers. I'm looking for these numbers. How do I find this number right here? First row, first column. So I'm going to multiply the numbers in the first row by the numbers in the first column. How many numbers are in the first row?
3.
How many numbers are in the first column?
Trace.
You multiply first times first, second times second, third times third, and add them up. So 1 times 1, 2 times 3, and -1 times 0. And I add them up. So that's 1 plus 6 plus 0, so this first number is a 7. First times first, second times second, third times third. Now I move over and I'm going to find this number. Now how am I going to find that number? First row, second column. So first times first, second times second, third times third. So first times first is 2, second times second is 4, and third times third is -1. That makes 5. And then first row, third column. So you take first times first, second times second, third times third, and add them up. Now, you need to finish whatever we didn't get done, which isn't much. There's a couple things we didn't get done. Okay? That's your homework.